You're listening to a main feed episode. Go to patreon.com/Celtic Ligers where €5 a month gets you weekly full-length episodes, stray bonus content and access to the back catalogue. Also helps cover hosting and gives us money for sweeties. Thank you. Celtic Ligers.
Recorded 15th of January 2024. And, oh shit. Gar accidentally recorded through his laptop mic. Sorry.
Talking about awful things. So we were watching Passion Fashion, okay? I want to give a timeline of this, all right?
We described Passion Fashion, didn't we?
We did. Everybody knows what Passion Fashion is. It was a show on TG Car, which was basically like, would you call it a reality show or like a game show or what would you call it?
A dating show.
Yeah, so the idea was that the men choose out what the woman wears, imagine. And then the woman has to decide who she wants to date based on the outfit.
Yeah, so it's three lads, they get 400 quid. Buy the outfits, the woman sees the outfits, chooses which one she likes best, and then the guy who chose that outfit goes on a date with her.
Yeah.
And then at the end they all go, there was no passion. They always say there's no passion.
Or they're like, hey, maybe I'll see him around. But like,
it never worked. Like we watched like 5 episodes, and they never were like, I really like them. I want to see them again. Never.
Well, there was one episode that was like that, but like the problem with it is that it's not like, let's say first dates where it's like, I could text her again. We'll see how it goes. And then a title card comes up and it's like, Noreen and Dave didn't text ever again.
Yeah.
You know, there's no follow-up. There's no like, Dave got his, did you ever see that one where this guy, he had really fucked up teeth, okay? And he could not stop talking about how fucked up his teeth were the entire day. He's like, I'm sorry about how fucked up my teeth are. And then she's like, it's fine, I don't care. Why would you be on a date with a guy with teeth like this?
No.
This is crazy. And he just kept going on about it. And so, like...
were his teeth that bad?
They were pretty bad. But, like, you know, there are people who... I mean, they were pretty bad. But he was an older fella and so was she. So she's not... Like, at that point, nobody's complaining.
She's just happy he has them.
Yeah, they're just like, but so like, so what ended up happening was at the end of it, they were like, hey, he's a nice guy and he has a bit of self-esteem issues and I hope he works them out. And she was like, oh, she was very nice to me and I really appreciate it. My teeth are so bad, obviously. And anyway, the title card came up, which kind of tells you what happened afterwards. And it was like, they texted for a while, but nothing came of it. And Dave got his teeth fixed, and then they show a picture of him with his fixed teeth.
Really?
I just found that really funny. Like, what an interesting detail. Just. But anyway, none of that. But we were watching an episode, and it was in Dublin, and who should walk onto our screen but Owen McDermott?
Yes.
Pre-fame, pre-scandal Owen McDermott. Now, again, I didn't feel like I had to do this, but for reasons that will become clear later on, Owen McDermott is a presenter, or was a presenter on RTE, who became disgraced as the result of an allegation from somebody who said that he dated them when they were underage. Okay.
Yeah, and just to say, we believe her. We think. I'm not.
Yeah, no, I don't know why I'm laughing. It was just, I expected you to be like, just by the way, you know, dudes rock, obviously.
I'm just trying to say without, libel issues, but I do believe that he raped her.
Just in a way that tries to avoid any potential litigation, we do believe that no, but like, whatever, that's what I know about him. And then he did the kind of noble thing of just saying, this bitch lying, you know, and like his lawyer came out and was like, you know, in the typical, I'm just saying, usually when people do that, it's not a good thing, you know, when they come out swinging, let's say.
Yeah.
So that's what happened. I don't know anything about the allegations or blah, blah, blah. But anyway, an article came up. So we typed in, where is Owen McDermott now? What's happening? An article, extra.ie, released 6th of September 2023.
Yeah.
Will I read out the headline?
Please do.
Hope. Owen McDermott breaks social media silence to commend inspirational Tyrone man. So then Owen McDermott has taken to social media to commend an inspirational Tyrone man who feeds 800 stray dogs a day in Thailand. So like when we heard that, we was like, oh, Owen McDermott is just doing like, hey guys, I'm back. Here's an innocuous post about some adorable man in Thailand who's just following his dreams.
Yeah.
And then the next paragraph, after finding himself in ICU over his addiction and mental health issues, former chef Niall Harbison turned his attention to saving the lives of stray dogs. And at no point in the article do they mention who Niall Harbison is. Because we posted this up on Instagram. We were like, look at this, Niall Harbison. And then people are like, oh, you think that's bad? Look at this guy who's, with looking after dogs. And I was like, no, it's Niall
you
Harbison.
Idiot. Niall Harbison from Loving Dublin.
And then they go, who's Niall Harbison? Who's Harbo? But I was like, I can't believe people don't know who Niall Harbison is.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and find some information about Niall Harbison, which I presume will be readily available. And then I was just shocked at how all of the stuff that I knew had kind of been, it is about 60% there now. Okay.
Yeah.
So like there was all these scandals that he was involved in. He was well known for being
extremely classist.
Like there's no way to get. I put together a little collection of links, okay, with the help of a certain insider who will remain nameless, okay.
Zelda.
What?
Zelda.
Because
of all the links. Because of all the links.
Yes. What about Africa? Because of Links Africa, am I right?
I'm a gamer now, so.
That's true. You are a gamer, and I recognize that, and I respect that, and appreciate that.
So, when I say links, I refer to your man from the game.
Yeah, as opposed to the deodorant of the people who used to put my head in the toilet.
Or the sausages.
Yeah. Unless they're... Okay, I'm done with
Go on, just say it.
Unless they're vegan sausages. I get it, Denny's, okay? Cool. Unless they're vegan sausages. Vegan sausages. So... Yeah, I was shocked that nobody remembered Niall Harbison, but then when I went to look for the links, I couldn't find them. So with our secret researcher, we've managed to try and claw back as many of them as possible. Now,
So, Niall Harbison used to loom so large in at least in Dublin, in the Dublin imagination. Because he set up a website called Loving Dublin. And it was a website where if you wanted to look up the best brunches under 50 quid or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It'd be like, here's the best coffee for €15.
Yeah.
And it's a steal.
Yeah.
And it was set up during the crash.
Yeah, just at this kind of like crest where it was like there was a recovery for some people, but not a lot of them. And then that was such a crazy
time because you'd have like these people who were just so bougie, like more than anybody you've ever met, and they were like, right, it's been 4 years of pretending I don't have any money, so I'm going to set up a ridiculous business now. It's just time to get back to normal. Like there was one, and it was called Porn Dog.
Porn Dog.
And this was like 2014. And it was like a different hot dogs. And they were like 15 quid.
Do you remember Ainger Danger? That's not going anymore, is it?
I don't know, what is it?
It was a donut shop on Ainger Street. Sorry, I just remember because Adam one time told me that some guy walked into his office and he's like, has anybody been to Onger Danger?
Oh yeah. That was when there were literally like 500 donut shops in Dublin.
Yeah. But like this one was like they had, black painted storefronts with like velvet red lettering, and the stuff that they would have in there would be like a €6 donut that was like Ferrero Rocher donut or whatever.
Yeah.
Be, bullshit.
What sort of freaks set those places up? I remember going to one.
I don't know.
And
I don't know who set them up. I know who went to them. Me.
Yeah. I basically lived in them. I went to one and I was like, what flavour is that? And he was like, oh, there are notes of this and notes of that, and he was like describing it like a wine. You know what I mean?
Mm.
But it's like you made it.
Yeah.
It's not like wine where it's like there's the grapes and there's a bit of the bit. It's like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
get
yeah.
the wheat, you add the strawberry flavor, yeah, there's other flavor. Like it's just little bottles of flavor. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. No, you're right. Like, as in, like with wine, it's like you're saying the grapes were in this sun. There was a storm, and thankfully you
Yeah,
managed to
the
save them. And
soil.
the soil, the area, the region,
Yeah,
there's a whole. There is like bunch of bullshit that you could point to of why it might taste different, but it's like this is the flour I got from Tesco. Like
yeah,
you're not getting anything that I don't have, man. You're just
yeah,
combining
yeah,
them and selling them at a ridiculously raised markup.
yeah,
So anyway, I'm getting excited because like I got these articles together and like from our anonymous source, and because initially I tried to find an article. I was like, because I knew that he'd said he'd done some like classist bullshit, so I just typed in like, I don't know, Niall Harbison controversy or something like that, and then a Daily Edge article came up, and I was like, oh my god, I'm already going back,
yeah, yeah.
And then half of the links were dead on it. They were referencing like Twitter accounts that were like, basically like, I don't want to say pre-Brexit, but I'm going to. There's something about like the tone of it where like it's almost like a second end of history, where like it felt like things were a little bad, but we're getting back to normal, and there's a general consensus. And then all these people would go on to be like, let's call it a pre-abortion referendum or a pre-repeal, okay?
Yeah, that's probably a good way of putting it.
Because there are these guys. There's a guy in particular called Colin Tobin, who I've had dealings with, and just a mad. He seems to be big into Labour, okay, and also loves Ukraine. He loves going on about the war in Ukraine and the fucking scalps that they're getting there, etc.
Yeah.
Love to know what he's thinking now about Gaza, but I had to block him because he was doing my fucking head in. It really irritated me because he was involved in animation, and so he would just be on LinkedIn going like, fuck Russia, let's get up Ukraine, we love Zelensky. And I was like, I hate that you can talk about politics and I can't, because like if I was to say what I thought, then it wouldn't be as well received, let's put it that way.
That's it. We'd be like, they're all Nazis.
They are. I mean, they're mostly Nazis,
There's a sizable portion of Nazis.
There's enough Nazis to be concerned, let's put it that way, okay?
Yeah.
That like it's and also like left-wing parties just being silenced by Zelensky, like basically being made illegal because they were critical of the war. Like, and you have this guy who's at this point like clinging on to power, like elections can't take place because we're still in wartime, and like eager to keep that drumbeat going because I don't know, I guess it just makes you important, makes you the man in the room with the shirts and the khaki and all that shit,
I'd say he's worried about being like killed as well. I'd say as soon as he's out of power, ice pick to the back of the head.
Yeah. But anyway, I don't know, like Ukraine, that's so 2022. I'm not even thinking about that shit anymore.
Yeah, fuck Ukraine.
But the point is that this guy was giving out about Love in Dublin's article, Niall Harbison, and I was like, wow, it'd be like, and it was written by Emer McSlaud, I think her name is, the one who wrote the What a Complete Aisling books or whatever it's fucking called.
Jesus, forgot about those.
Yeah, I know, and you're just like, oh my god, we're so back. But like
that was literally like a Facebook account.
I know.
Would post statuses being like, well, they'd be like, she goes into a Starbucks and orders a cup of tea.
Yes.
Gets confused by a cappuccino.
Yeah, it's basically like Bridget Jones, except if it was Irish, and for like one of the most temporary moments of time that ever existed, like it's like, because it reminds me, when they made Uncut Gems and they were like, oh, it's set in 2012, and then it's not until you watch Uncut Gems that you realize 2012 had a specific texture to it that you weren't entirely aware of. And going back and reading these posts and remembering that version of Dublin, I was like, good God. It was kind of heavy, man. All right. So
Yeah.
here's an article. It's for the Irish Times. It was written in 2023. Okay, and it's Love and Dublin founder Niall Harbison on moving from life in Irish media to caring for street dogs in Thailand. By the way, that extra article, either that guy knows who Niall Harbison is and is elected to not mention it for whatever reasons, or he doesn't know who Niall Harbison is, and that makes it even worse for me. Okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, what I wanted was like just a breakdown of his past, just his life up until the point where he founded Love in Dublin. Okay. And this article provided this, but has an interesting cutoff point that we'll get to. So, originally from Cookstown, County Tyrone, Harbison moved to Dublin in the late 1990s.
That's so mad that she's from Tyrone.
I know. That's what I couldn't get over as well.
I just assumed he was from Westgar or something.
Yeah.
He's from Tyrone.
So, in the late 1990s, he trained as a chef. I'll just try and, condense this as I'm going. He got a job at a Michelin star restaurant. It's called Peacock Alley. I guess I'm bad at condensing. I'll just read it.
Your experience, yeah.
I got a job at the Michelin-starred Peacock Alley after completing my training. I worked there during the early Celtic Tiger years, becoming head chef at just 21. It was an amazing time in Dublin, setting me up for my next career move. A ski season chefing in the French Alps was to lead to jobs on yachts along the French Riviera. I started small, working on a 6-man yacht, he says. But as Harbison's experience grew, yachts got bigger. And by the way, this is like pure Celtic Tiger shit, isn't it?
Yeah.
And via good fortune, he got a private chefing job on the mega yacht of Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen. The 100.
But he didn't. It's funny. He's like they're not his yachts. Who gives a fuck how big they are? You know what I mean? He's like, it's like I work in a huge office.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, cool. You just still cook hamburgers or whatever.
Well, I'll spare you the explanation of how big the fucking yacht was and the people who were on it.
Yeah.
Well, Mick Jagger and Bono, that's one anyway. And then, like,
do you think he met Epstein?
Oh my god! Fuck.
Like, if he's meeting this sort of crowd,
he's a heartbeat. He's a hop, skip, and a jump away from Bill Gates. Okay, like.
yeah. But so Paul Allen, he hates Bill Gates.
Yeah, he hates Bill Gates. But
still, maybe he hung out with Epstein. They just never hung out together.
Riviera.
Yeah.
And then he go boast about how much food he bought and how they had to make things like if there's no menu.
Buy it. Like he didn't buy it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like you're just doing a job. It doesn't. Who gives a fuck?
There was no menu. People just order what they want, and then they try to drop a little anecdote about how Bono wanted an Irish fry.
Wow.
Yeah, 'cause he's so relatable.
With Barry's tea.
Yeah, probably.
or Lions. Which you prefer? Yeah. Epstein and Bono arguing about Lions versus.
So it can be
seriously though. Which do you like?
I don't give a fuck. It tastes the exact same to me. I don't.
Okay.
I do not taste the difference. But Lions, obviously, because that's my last name. So. That's the reason. That's the reason I buy it. I just go Lions. That's me. So.
Yeah, I just see it. I grab it.
Yeah.
Drink it. Okay.
It can be tough working when everyone else is having a good time. Blah 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 blah.
Tell me about it.
Social media was at its cusp at the time, and I thought it would be a good idea to get involved. So I returned to Dublin to start an online PR and social media agency with Lauren Fisher in May 2009. After growing the company Simply Zesty to over 30 employees and offices in London and Dublin, we sold the company to UTV in 2013. In 2013, now here's what I found funny.
What a grim sentence.
I know.
What a grim experience.
It doesn't, like, the rest of the paragraphs make it, like, as in, like, the rest of the links I have, I'm just so excited. I'm sorry. But it doesn't get any less grim. It just takes you back to that time and, like, makes you just depressed, okay?
We'll try to keep this to the hour.
Okay, yeah, sure. What time are we at now? All right, no, we'll be able to do it. We'll be able to do it. It was good.
Yeah.
In 2013, he launched Love in Dublin Media and Marketing Company. I sold the business in 2018 before deciding to do something else altogether. So I decided to move to Thailand to take it easy for a while and remote work on various ventures here. So after all of those paragraphs, I skipped over a bunch of shit. They get to Love in Dublin, they go, he founded Love in Dublin and then he sold it in 2018. And they don't say anything about Love in Dublin. which is
Yeah.
madness. It's like,
Also, how do you remotely... He's like, I was working on projects remotely. How do you remotely sterilize a dog? Is
he
it just
wasn't-
like leaning out the
he
window
wasn't
with a
doing it
scissors?
at that point. He was remotely
Oh, right.
writing reviews for places. Okay.
Oh, right, okay.
So what we have here is now a greatest hits of some of the stuff that Harbison did. So what we have to know is that Niall Harbison right now, he's like, if you look at a picture of him, he's got the stupid floppy hat, he's wearing the stained shorts and the like white t-shirt, and he's like, I'm just a guy helping these Thai street dogs get a better life. But like from 2013 to 2018, he was
The tastemaker.
he was pool bag towers, he was spice bags, he was he was all that kind of corporate.
Well, this was actually pre-Spice Bag.
Well, no, it wasn't. It's like just at the end. No, Spice Bag would have been 2015.
Yeah, I suppose you're right. I wonder what he made of Spice Bags. I feel like he wouldn't have liked them.
No, there's at least one list a month about the best Spice Bags in Dublin that you can find on Love in Dublin.
Really?
Yeah.
But
like it's like Maximum Media, Joe.ie, like this kind of whole thing about just these tech startups. This like at the time as well, I lived with this person, but like their friend worked on the docks, and they were like one of those tech startups where like it's a Spanish company that's trying to. I mean, I don't know why, but anyway, there's a whole thing where they clearly had an offices set up just like the usual thing of like it's like a shell corporation almost.
yeah.
There's a bunch of guys in there just on beanbags playing GTA 6 and going around on segways and goofing off. And then every so often somebody would come into them and be like, what about an app? And it's called the Doorbell app. And the idea is if you don't want to ring the doorbell, then you just like press this button and your mate's phone rings. And then he comes down to get you. And then they go, why don't you send him a text? And they go, oh, I didn't think of that. You know?
Do it anyway.
Yeah. And then it's like, there's another app that they had where it's like, what about if advertisers paid you to change your ringtone to be like the trailer for like the latest movie that was out at the moment? And you got paid. You got paid to do that, like a penny every time your phone rang.
It's mad, like the complete fucking waste that goes into those sort of things. And then it's like, yeah, you're right. It'd be like the Doorbell app, and it'd be valued at like $2 billion.
Yeah,
and it's like there's nothing being made.
Yeah,
and like, I is this podcast, and they were talking about how like in America, the amount of money produced by like this sort of culture, the Silicon Valley culture, it's like or by like venture capital, is like 800 billion, something like that.
Yeah.
And they were just like, is the world $800 billion better?
Yeah.
Like, if you notice any change?
Yeah.
Because it's just money in guys' bank accounts weren't even spending it.
Yeah. And it's also like a massive brain drain from like people you feel like could be doing something a lot better with their time. And also by doing that stuff, your brain just atrophies as well. You become stupider from doing that.
You do.
But they don't care because they're making money. And that's what it was at that moment in time. It was like everything was fucked, and it was like I remember my rent would have been about €500, and I was like, there is no way that this rent can get higher because I can't, like, who can pay this? Nobody will be able to pay this. And it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. But like that was like the moment where like everybody was I guess there was still a feeling that you could get off this horrible road to nowhere. You could just step onto a tech job and get a bit of money and get out of the horrible, misery.
And what's interesting about the tech stuff is that like the reason why there was this explosion was because before the crash, they like created like artificial value essentially. Like that was how investment firms made their money. They invest in property. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they like created mad ways of inflating value.
Yeah.
And then there was a crash. And then after the crash, they were like, okay, well, the problem with property is that you can run out of property, basically. So let's invest in intellectual property, because that is infinite and it's not material.
Yeah.
So that's why we have these things that are just like insanely overvalued. It's like just like the way we had insanely overvalued property
Yeah.
and an insane amount of debt that didn't actually exist because you could never get that money back.
Mm.
They've just switched to like companies.
Yeah.
So it's like instead of buying debt from a mortgage, they're like, oh, I have this company and it makes app that tells you when you shit yourself. And it's worth this amount and we've put this amount in and hopefully he'll sell it for this amount. And nothing. There will never be an app. It doesn't matter. There's no app.
Like, it also...
But here
there's also such, like, mysticism around tech is basically magic. So, like, so much of governments would be like, especially our government would be like, wow, these great innovators, these amazing guys who are going to save us if we just invest in them. And then they invest in them, and then, like, it turns out they're all liars, charlatans. I mean, COVID was the great revealer for that as well, when you have, like, that guy, you know, what's his name, Quirk, who was he organized festivals in the Middle East, and then for some reason that meant that he was perfectly qualified to get ventilators, which turned out didn't work, and then masks for children, which also didn't work. It's like, it's mental. So anyway, the main article, the big one that you can get with the dead links and stuff is Dublin blog issues apology over offensive comments. Here's what happens. Doesn't that even take you back? Here's what happens. But anyway, so I'm going to say the word. Maybe I'll bleep it. Fuck it. So, he would do this all the time. He would write, like, reviews of places, okay? And he would just smuggle in some racism, classism, whatever you want, okay? Then he would apologize or walk it back. And that was also very popular at the time with, like, the White Moose Cafe guy, where, you know, people who would do these things. Just these people who would, like, court controversy as in influencers, but then also for some reason didn't like to see themselves as influencers. I don't know, whatever. It doesn't make sense.
The White Moose Cafe, you go to some cafe and every so often he'd be like, women on their periods aren't allowed in. And I'll be checking. And people be like, that's disgusting. He'd be like, you're snowflakes. He did genuinely say women were banned from breastfeeding in the restaurant. And then the worst one that he did was when the Ulster rape trial happened and people gathered at the Spire saying, I believe her. He said, hashtag I believe in Santa. And it was like, why did you do that? Oh, it was just a bit of a laugh. Come on, lads. You know, that type of shit. Fucking dumbass. And he was gay.
He was like, should I say like a Radker guy who hates women actively? You know, he really hates women. Like that thing. Those two examples should be enough evidence for me to make that claim. Where he's like, not allowed breastfeed in my restaurant, and also I believe that you were raped. You know, you're like, fuck, man. You know. So anyway, here's the piece
Radker's a bit more subtle because it'll just come out and it'll be like, Kate O'Connell's a bitch and I hate her, you know? He's just really weird around women. Hates, like, you can just see in his face that he hates them.
Yeah. I mean, the way he talks about Mary Lou as well.
That's it. He will take a shot at, like, you know, Paul Murphy or who's, you know, someone in Sinn Féin. But then when it's Mary Lou, he's like, you're a fat bitch.
Yeah.
I wish I didn't have to see you. You know?
All right, what time? Okay, we got it. Okay, piece written by the site's founder, Niall Harbison, was based on a visit to a seafood restaurant in Dublin's Grand Canal Dock area and included this paragraph, which was since deleted. Okay, well, the whole review, I believe, was deleted, so they got a screen grab of it.
What was the restaurant?
They don't say. They don't say. So here's the paragraph, and I'm going to say the word that he used. When the sun shines, there are certain places that you just know will be packed. The barge is probably the most obvious place to head, but for years it was Ocean Bar. Hundreds of people would sit outside happily supping pints and watching knackers play their favourite sport of bridge jumping, wearing wetsuits. It really is amazing how long the little bastards can keep themselves entertained, jumping into water, and how the local crime rates plunge when they are all busy having their annual wash. So a lot of people rightfully upset about that.
Yeah.
Um,
It's mad that he's like looking at kids having fun and he's been like he's so fucking angry about it.
In January, Harbison wrote about a pizza restaurant in North Strand and likened the area to the Gaza Strip. I forgot about the fact that my car was clearly having the wheels taken off it outside and felt like I was back sitting in Napoli or Sicily for an hour. And it's just like, it's just very funny to be like, you don't really need to do this. You could just talk about the food, but he just can't help himself. Yeah, that was that. And then, what was it? Insider stories. Somebody was saying that they would have to quietly delete and hide articles he wrote on the site, even though he was the owner. He was also a big supporter of Airbnb. From an Irish Times article, quote, he hacks his life by renting out his house on Airbnb when somebody books it. When somebody books it, Harbison looks up the cheapest Ryanair flight he can find, books a room in that city, and works from there for the week at a tidy profit. In his example, he makes €2,000 and spends a week in Oslo for €400.
What?
Yeah, apparently. I don't know. And then this one here, this one's really good. The Irish Independent from 2015. Website apologizes over factually inaccurate review of restaurant. This one is actually very... I didn't think this was... I thought this was a different one, but this is actually funnier. A review website has apologized, this is Love in Dublin, for factual inaccuracies it included in a critique of a Dublin restaurant. Love in Dublin made the apology after an article in which their writer Niall Harbison gave the Kokoro Sushi Bento establishment a negative review, despite admitting to having never tasted the food. HSE hires food blogger and other social media experts. Now, this one is going to give you some real mid-2010s shakes and shivers.
Nothing made about them. 2010s were a great time in my life.
The HSE has hired a number of social media experts to advise staff in recent months, internal documents have shown.
On what?
Get ready for it. Food blogger social media consultant Niall Harbison was recruited by the HSE to address staff about his vision for healthcare in Ireland at a recent seminar. Harbison, founder of and occasionally controversial writer for the Love in Dublin website, was paid €615 to speak at the eHealth Ireland Ecosystem event in Dublin on June 29th. He reduced his normal speaking fee of €1,000 to €500, excluding VAT, for the HSE, records released under the Freedom of Information Act show.
Wow.
The HSE initially told Harbison's team that it didn't usually pay speakers for such events as they were a collaboration to raise awareness around health. His team then said he was happy to do charitable events for a fee of €500. Well, it's not a fee of €500 because it's €615. Topics addressed during the day-long meeting at the Ballsbridge Hotel included, here we go, advances in electronic referrals and e-prescribing and the role of unique identifiers for patients. Chief Information Officer Richard Corbridge addressed the event on developments in the HSE's electronic health record program. Harbison brought the audience through a whistle-stop tour of what it means to be in social and digital media today in 2016 with a great...
Why do they need to know?
I don't know. With a great emphasis on being mobile first, Mr. Cobridge wrote. The entrepreneur and former chef to Microsoft founder Paul Allen spoke strongly on the importance of engaging with stakeholders through different social media platforms and commended HSE staff on their use of Twitter hours and its transparency agenda for developing relationships. So it sounds like they got they paid him €500 to pat them on the back.
Yeah, I mean, like, good tweeting.
Yeah, very good.
And what's mad about the tweeting is that, like, when you see ads for the HSE, it's just like, well, you don't see ads for the HSE. When you see ads, it'd be like, just get STD tested. Like, it's just, there's no...
as well.
What?
It's the wallpaper as well. Like, I don't never consciously paid attention to an ad by the HSE unless you're accounting during COVID.
Yeah. But there was just the most straightforward, like, thing. It's just like, here's the information. There's no strategy needed.
Yeah. And Harbison commanded less for his speaking engagement than social media trainer Samantha Kelly, who trades under the name, quote, the tweeting goddess, and who was paid 600... Huh?
Who?
Do you know Samantha Kelly?
No.
No clue. I didn't look it up. Tweeting goddess, though. She was paid €650 to address HSE staff at a meeting in Dublin on June 2nd.
Samantha Kelly.
Samantha Kelly. Wexford-based Kelly, a former contestant on the television show Dragon's Den, charges just under €1,000 per month to take over Twitter accounts to help individuals or organisations build their social media following.
I think I found her. One of her tweets is, "There's a grand stretch in the evening," so there is.
Oh my god.
She got £650. Posted on X 21 hours ago. "There's a grand stretch in the evening," so there is. Other tweets include, like just her with a cup of coffee. You know, that.
Yeah.
Still on that buzz, you know. Connector. X and LinkedIn audio host. I'll get your business noticed. Putting the X factor into expert. Nice people collector. Speaker. Friend of Bill W. Who's Bill W?
I don't know. Bill Wyman from the Rolling Stones? I don't know. Bill, the only reason I remember Bill Wyman's name is because apparently he dated like a 15-year-old, and then when she came of age, he married her, okay? And then he divorced her and then married her mother. And then his ex-wife, the 15-year-old, then married his son.
Incorrect. Wyman married a model after divorcing his child bride, and his son married his ex-wife's mother, which meant Wyman became his own son's ex-son-in-law, the father-in-law of his ex-mother-in-law, as well as the step-grandfather of his ex-wife.
That's interesting.
Sorry, I was reading her tweets.
It's really not that interesting. I'm not gonna don't worry about it. So
It's also in the middle of fucking winter. There's not a grand stretch in the evenings.
No. She's short-circuiting, honestly.
Yeah.
So this is from Oscar's Bar and Cafe, which is in Smithfield, if you remember.
Yeah,
it's next to the Lighthouse Cinema. So in 2016, this guy messages them, "We were looking for a bar to help us out. We are running a this is Love in Dublin messaging them, okay, emailing them. We're looking for a bar to help us out. We are running a Christmas event next Thursday, 1st, in the blank, for our advertising marketing agency clients that have worked with us throughout the year. We were hoping to have after drinks from about 6:30 p.m. in Oscars. We were hoping that we could come to a deal to do sponsored content for Oscars on the site in return for a tab on the bar. We could do anything from sponsored content, video competitions, live social posts, etc. We would be happy to double the value spent on the bar tab as content. So for €1,000 in tab, we would give blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter. The point is that they're saying, can we have free drink? And then we would just give you a bunch of exposure on our website.
Yeah.
So then Oscars got back to them. Many thanks for the email and for taking such an interest in Oscar's Cafe Bar. To be quite honest, I would rather stick pins in my eyes than do any collaboration with Love in Dublin. And this is because clearly Love in Dublin have forgotten that they called us a shit boring pub a few months ago. This is according to Facebook. So at the time, I remember this, but I can't find the thing now. But the reason... Oh wait, somebody kindly put it in the comments underneath. Thank you, Colm O'Regan. I wonder if it's the same one. So the reason... I remember at the time seeing them like, hey, you clap back, fucking yes, we love to see it, blah, blah. The reason Love in Dublin called them a shit pub, okay, was because during the Euros in 2016, they offered a promotion, free gin and tonics challenge for the girls, okay? And it was if a woman came up to the bar and could explain the offside rule, then they would get a free drink.
Right.
So they were like shit boring pub. So we're gonna call this a draw here. Yeah. It was still good though. So finally then we come to 2018. Niall Harbison sells out Love and Media in deal that values it at €3 million. So this guy has €3 million and then moves to Thailand and goes, I'm going to fucking take a bunch of dogs' balls.
Another thing he did, and it didn't quite work for him, is he tried to expand the brand to like other countries.
that did actually work for him, and it wasn't. I have articles about that as well.
Oh, really? Because I
Yeah.
remember there was one that was Love in Dubai.
Yeah, Love in Dubai and Love in Saudi. Okay, which I mentioned it, and Zainab knew what they were, so I'm taking that as a given that they're still going strong.
Let me look them up.
But I just really like this. Yeah, so we'll journey into this aside now. Now, this is an article written on 29th of August 2023, which seems far too recent. But they go, it wasn't actually Harbison who did Love in Dublin or Love in Dubai and Love in Saudi. Okay.
Okay.
Waterford entrepreneur and Love in Dubai founder to address Arab-Irish business conference. So he talks about, like, you know, the article is about how he's going over there to talk to fucking Arab business leaders. But what I found really funny, in 2012, Richard Fitzgerald left his job as a senior advertising executive to head to the Middle East. 3 years later, he founded Augustus Media, which publishes Love in Dubai, Love in Saudi, and Smashy Digital. I received a very warm welcome on the arrival to the UAE, said Richard. When doing business there, it's important to understand the difference, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't really matter. The point is they call him like a Waterford entrepreneur. He came up with this great idea of just doing Niall Harbison's thing except over in Dubai. You know? And Niall Harbison's thing was just a food blog that was modeled off of the United States, you know?
Yeah.
But anyway, yes, sold it on. Niall sold it on to Emmett O'Neill, who was already a major stakeholder within Love in Dublin. And now the site is basically, let's look it up. Let's look up Love in Dublin. You're looking up Love in Dubai, I'm looking up Love in Dublin.
I'm looking up Love in Saudi.
How's Love in Saudi? The best places to dismember
A journalist.
yeah.
It says, after years of hard work, everybody knows the name Mohammed bin Salman. I feel like they knew his name once he was... Leave it up to Saudi's very own Muhammad al-Hamdi to make the most epic poses in front of the Egyptian pyramids. The actor credited a local horseman for inspiring these iconic poses. And it's him pretending to hold the pyramids in his palm of his hand. It's him jumping in front of the pyramids. It's him doing the karate pose. And it's him pretending to hold them again. That's really epic to see. But they still seem epic over in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. I was thinking of, it reminded me of Elon Musk, because it was also like the height of like Elon Musk sort of fandom in the mid 2010s, where it's like he had a flamethrower and he's going to send a car into space and he's so cool. But like the way that they're posting there is the way that Elon Musk still posts today. You know? Yeah. This is epic. Honey Badger drinks what he wants, you know?
Four of the best camel-themed cafes in Saudi Arabia. Are camels like their version of like pints? Do you know what I mean? Like, is that their equivalent of being like, four of the best places to split the G in Dublin?
Yeah.
Hawker Cafe. Is camel inspired all right? Cafe Naug. Camel milk ice cream. Camel Step, just its coffee. Pink Camel Cafe. Doesn't even a picture of her. What a great... I really love this website.
I know. Well, if you want to know what's happening on Love in Dublin, it's basically similar content that they were posting in the mid-10s.
Wait, Love in Dublin's still going?
Yeah, and also it's they're mostly just advertised content, though. Like somebody will pay them to write about the cool bakery, and then they have to write about it.
Right.
There's an article written about Ivy Market's campaign, which is good. Written by Fiona Frawley, January 11th, 2024.
Oh, interesting.
That's interesting. No shade. It was interesting seeing her name. Stand-up comedian Fiona Frawley.
This is from Saudi. This is from Love in Dubai. Sheikh Mohammed casually enjoys coffee among families at Al Quadra Lake.
He's just like us.
Just like, I always thought H.H. Sheikh Mohammed was an elitist pig. Turns out he's just like me.
Be careful. Be careful. I don't want to. I want to go to Turkey someday. I don't want to.
Okay. Palestinian, right? Journalist delivers a sensational speech to Dubai audience. Well, that's good.
That is good. Hope. How Street Dogs Taught Me the Meaning of Life. 31st of August 2023. You can get an Eason's paperback edition now. Niall Harbison is a dog hero based in Thailand. He spends his days feeding, caring for and rescuing the many street dogs he comes across. With every rescue there's a story. Like the sweet gentle McMuffin. Huh?
What do you think he feeds them? Dog shit.
Other dogs, yeah. Who was found with many tumours and hours from death, only to be nursed back to health. She now lives with Niall and is a popular member of the pack.
That's a lie. The dog's fucking covered in tumours. You can't just nurse it back to hell.
Yeah. What a guy, honestly.
You just got to throw it in the river. Be done with it.
So here we go. There's written for RSVP Live.
Oh, there's loads. Love in Dubai.
Yeah.
Oh wait. What the fuck? What do these mean? It is like there's a pull down menu.
Yeah.
There's a. What do you think this is? Okay. Dubai, Abu Dhabi. Where's Abu Dhabi?
I don't know.
Is that in Dubai?
I don't have a clue.
Look it up. Jamie, pull up where Abu Dhabi is. Sharjah.
It's the capital of UAE.
Okay, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Sharjah, RAK, Saudi. I'm going to look at one more.
Is that?
I'm going to look
Are
up.
you talking about all the various lovins that there are?
I'm trying to figure out if these are places or some other thing. Because there's one that says Palestine.
Love in Palestine?
Love in Palestine.
Oh my god. You are joking me. Alright, I'm getting excited again now.
It's all fairly, political. It's not like Cyprus brunch spots in in Gaza.
Oh
no,
god.
It's
I'm
just
not even gonna go there. Like some fucking horrible right winger can make that, or make that joke.
Yeah, no, these are all fairly on the ball.
Yeah.
Well, look at one more. Do you want Baghdad? Beirut? There's so many.
Oh my god. And this is some Waterford hack, okay?
Yeah.
This is some fucking... Imagine, like Harbo is already like a mollusk on the Americans, basically. Just taking their leftover image, what was it? What do you do when you relaunch your image? Yeah, I guess that's it. Taking their leftover imagery launches and doing all the shit that they do. And this guy is now just suckling on the mollusk of him. He's sucking him on.
Yeah,
probably.
I know.
Anyway.
What?
I'm just not happy with my performance today is all.
I think it's good.
I just did a lot of research and I got very excited and then I just wanted to tell people and now it's like the kid running in going, I stood the dog outside. It's like, all right, calm down, slow down. What did you see? And you're just like, loving Palestine and loving Dubai.
I went on the internet and there was love in Palestine and they said that this happened and then James said this. Just think before you speak. Just a bit slower, 5 awesome activities to keep you busy in Bahrain. I don't know why. It's just so funny. Like, I don't know why the ultimate comedy is like looking up a foreign website and you're like, they act like we act, Like, we say, here's 5 things to keep you busy in Dublin, but they're doing it about Bahrain. Isn't that so mad?
Well, it's more the context of these, because I'm only ever used to hearing about them like on the news in this kind of very seedy setting. They're always trying to, like, any place in the Middle East is always depicted as like, oh, you got to be careful. you know. And in some instances, that's correct, which is make it very funny with the MBS having a bunch of articles written about him. It's like, wow,
Yeah,
look at him. The guy who caught up a journalist is having tea with the rest of us.
yeah.
It's like, fuck, man, that's grim. That's awful. But I suppose that's what we're doing with, like,
Spend your weekend with laughs with Otto Il Bisotto at the Spring Culture Fest. I'd love to see that. I'd love to know what like Bahraini comedy is like.
Loving Palestine is the only loving that I support. All the rest of them can fuck off. All right, let me just read like what happened to Harbo real quick. He said, I actually just wanted to write it about dogs because I wanted to get the street dog message out there. But then the publishers and everyone else were telling me, oh, I think your own story is quite interesting. I was more focused on the dogs, but then everybody wanted me to sort of tell my own story. Once I did, it was quite therapeutic, but it was definitely really hard to write in terms of emotion and everything. But I also wanted to help people who maybe had their own mental health or addiction struggles. And I think if it helps even one person, I would be happy. It's like, this guy is a creature of the mid 2010s. He's just like everything about him, the fucking dogs, moving to Thailand, the mental health, the addiction struggles, all that shit. That's just oh my god. You just see that now and it's like, I can't believe he's still getting away with this shit. given all the stuff that he's done,
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever. There we go. There he is. That's who Niall Harbison is. Hope that's on the record. Hope that's sufficient for you.
Okay. Jack Chambers came out as gay. Did you hear that?
Jack Chambers, gay. Go.
I think it's this. Might be. I don't think he needs to come out as gay anymore. Discuss.
Maybe not. Not really.
Like, it's not like he was like a pussy hound. You know what I mean? Like a sex symbol or something.
Yeah.
Like he's. You know what I mean? It's like.
No, I get you. I do, because it was ages ago now, but there was like a How to Train Your Dragon movie coming out, and they announced that one of the characters, turns out, he's gay. And then my friend at the time, he was like, it's not really progress if you have to announce it,
Yeah.
Like, it should just be, like you're saying, completely irrelevant.
Not even, it's also like, say Veronica came out and it was, like, gay marriage wasn't even legal, and like it was like people did care, you know what I mean?
Mm.
And like he was high ranking, he also wanted to be Taoiseach and all that sort of stuff. Like people cared.
Mm.
Whereas like no one cares about Roderick O'Gorman. Well, some people do. They think he's a paedophile. You're obviously going to get a homophobic response, but I mean, it's like no one is looking at his. Well, I guess they are, but like, you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying. Like if Jack Chambers had a boyfriend, like, and he never came out, like he never publicly announced he was gay. Like he just started dating someone. Like, what would be the fallout from that? What would be the repercussion? Like,
if anything, that's what we would like,
Well, it's just like, it's not like you'd see at the front of the Irish Times, like, Jack Chambers spotted with man kissing. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, he's not particularly high profile. Like, he's reasonably high profile, but it's not like people following him around with paparazzi cameras. Probably that's one of the reasons why he had to come out so publicly, because he's in Fianna Fáil. And being in Fianna Fáil has been in like, it's like being stuck in 2001, you know what I mean? It's like, that is the mindset they have. Like, half the party are like probably scared of him now. They're probably like, oh, he should have his own bathroom, you know? But I also feel like Jack Chambers is still going to marry a woman, you know what I mean? He's going to be like, being gay, it's completely manageable these days. It's fine, you know. It's like it doesn't need to affect your life as long as you manage it. And it's like as if you're diabetic. You know what I mean? It's like it's not a life sentence anymore.
No, I mean, like,
you can still marry a woman, you can have kids, you can be a conservative asshole. Just means that like once every couple of weeks you like go fuck a man somewhere. You know what I mean? Like, that's how he's going to view it. It's going to be just something you have to manage. Because, like...
Yeah, sure, everybody's a bit gay these days. My uncle.
Yeah.
So this is link it into the mental health stuff. Like, my uncle, he couldn't be gay back in the day. And that's why, you know, it's important to be a little bit gay every now and again and talk about being gay. Because, you know, nobody talks about it. And we need to have that conversation about being gay. I can't help but think it's just an angle. Like, as in, I'm just like, I'm a young guy. I'm completely asexual. Maybe I look at men, but I'm not going to act upon it in any way because I just don't give a shit.
I'm not gay, possibly bi, but basically uncurious.
And then some publicist goes, well, you can't be asexual, so you have to choose one. Because otherwise people, and especially it's very topical to be gay and young. And make sure you go out there, do a French tuck, don't wear a tie, and talk about being gay. And like basically it just shows how Fine Gael has completely absorbed Fianna Fáil. It's like, I can't help but think of this as like an angle to try and become leader of the party, despite being like completely like inept and terrible. Because one of the things, like, the only thing that I know about Jack Chambers, I mean, besides him being a complete bollocks, okay, and all of his weird stilted manner with everybody. Also, you know, we have another autistic gay man, and I'll remove that bit. He's a striver. He's got this fucking ambition, and like anybody who's young and involved in politics and Fianna Fáil or Fine Gael in that capacity is very scary individual. Let's put it that way. I think. But the thing that I know him for, like his biggest political claim, is the time when he was government whip and fucked up, and basically the Catherine Connolly is Las Cancorla because of Jack Chambers' failure. Like that wasn't meant to happen. He was meant to. Like, you know, the way there's Can Corla, and then I guess when the Can Corla can't do their responsibilities, there's the last Can Corla, which so he was meant to whip a vote for the desired candidate in Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, whatever the coalition government, but he fucked up, and Catherine Connolly ended up getting it. And it's a surprise to everybody, and everybody was like, "What the fuck?" And like, there's several times where he'll just go on TV and say something or make a fucking tit of himself, and then it's actually very classic young Varadkar, to be honest. Like, if you go back and look at like Varadkar when he was this young TD, he would just open his gob and say some awful shit, and then the rest of the party would go, fucking shut the fuck up, and he would just make a complete tool of himself. But there is a story that so Tony Groves is apparently used to be friends with that guy Brian Hayes.
Tony Groves of
Tortoise
Shack
Shack Echo Chamber podcast.
That's still going.
Oh yeah.
Anyway,
Tony Groves claims that Brian Hayes, who was caught up in Golfgate, former Fine Gaeler, went into the private sector, as far as I remember. He was asked around the time of the leadership election in Fine Gael, where it was Coveney versus Varadkar, who was going to win, and he said Varadkar because he looks good in a poster. That's what he said. Okay. Like, that was the ambient knowledge of the time, which is that, like, the marriage referendum happened. We don't want some fucking old stuffy white guy who's also attached to a bunch of corrupt baggage as well with his brother and his family.
Let's get a young Tory in.
Yeah, let's get a guy in, and, you know, POC, no harm there, you know, and also gay, gotcha. And I think that that there's every likelihood that that's the calculation that Chambers and his team are making, is in like, hey, stranger things have happened. Varadkar took over the party, and he was as a mouthy a bollocks as there ever was, you know?
Yeah.
So, but I think it feels like a miscalculation with Fianna Fáil, honestly, because I think that they, you know, they really don't like gay people.
They might just be there. I don't know. There's something so odious about people who are young going into politics like that.
Yeah, big time. Yeah.
Like, it's just, they're always just such fools.
Yeah. Complete weirdos and freaks.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, like, Chambers being gay, it's like, it would be nice if somebody put a picture of Jack Chambers out with a lad, And then they were like, Chuck Chambers gay, and he's like, yeah, what of him? That would have been such a great. That would have been a real coup if they wanted to be, but because he's so triangulating, I feel like we need the maximum exposure on this fucker. I'm going to go in the Irish Times, and the fact that they were reusing the photo that he had from a few weeks ago of just some guy, like it's real Macron and Trudeau sort of vibes as well, isn't it? Just like
without taking off the tie, undoing the shirt button, it's so played out. It's such like such a fucking obvious move. It's like something out of the thick of it, you know?
Yeah. Blue blazer, brown brogues, brown pointed brogues, and you're just kind of standing there leaning against like a brick wall or something with your hand in your pocket. Like, we're going to come in. We're going to take the briefcase off those stuffy white shirts in the doll, and we're going to finally have something real. It's like, you're in government. You co-sign everything that these people do. And like, what it just means is I need to think of something that makes me look different to these dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Speaking of dinosaurs, Jurassic Park, great movie. No, Ballinrobe protests.
End of the free one. Go to patreon.com/CelticLigers and for just €5 a month you can hear the rest of the conversation, which features the literal guard fucking racists in Ballinrobe, Marty McGrath spouting more shite than usual, and finally Fintan O'Toole letting his freak flag, aka Israeli flag, fly. Give it a listen. Peace.